Hello, dreamers. Welcome Ashley Flores. She's one of my great friends, a fitness influencer, and has a heart of gold. And let's be real, she has a nice ass. Ashley is beautiful inside and out, inspiring countless people to live their healthiest lives while building a community that feels like a family. Now, in her fiancé era, after 7 years with her partner Nate, she's sharing the fun and surprises of engagement and wedding planning. Plus, she'll spill the tea on brand partnerships, staying true to herself, and how she keeps her followers coming back for more. Get ready for laughs, insights, and a warm welcome to the one and only Ashley Flores.
Well, thanks for coming, Ash.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're pumped to have you here.
We love you so much.
Oh, I love you guys too.
You're
Thank
the cutest.
Oh.
Okay, I want to start by diving into do you like when people call you an influencer?
No.
You don't?
No.
What do we call you then?
To be honest, I feel like sometimes I say content creator, but I've learned since then that they're completely different. So technically I am an influencer and I want to have an influence. I just feel like people have a negative association with the word because they feel like it's someone who just abuses their audience, which is the opposite of what I do. And I feel like a lot of people also think influencer is someone who has this big head, big ego. But that's not the case for some of them too, you know? But there's definitely a case for others. But
When I hear the word, I think it's like somebody trying to sell you something.
yeah.
Like I'm trying to influence you to buy this, you know?
I mean, essentially you kind of are, but like you do it for things that you genuinely love if you're a good influencer.
And believe in.
Yeah.
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 And I feel like you've done a great job at that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Should I
Well,
stay
you're
here
just
all day?
you're
Yeah.
genuine, you know, on Instagram and in real life, you are such a genuine person. And
Yeah.
I
think we can both vouch for that.
Yeah.
Like wholeheartedly.
yeah.
Thank
And
you.
you don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the goal, but you never know how you actually come off. Like I'll rewatch videos when I'm editing it and I hear my voice. I'm like, please stop, turn it off. And I'll just mute it.
Yeah. But I mean, we're our biggest critics
For
ourselves,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, from the outside in, we've known you for 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
even
at one
bef-
point
even
I talked to you
before that-
every day of
I
my
know.
life, all day long.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
was pinned.
Yeah. Even before that, I mean, we knew your story. I mean, I saw your story with your old apparel company that used to rap, right?
Yeah.
Like, because we were so wrapped up in all that. And then obviously getting to know you really well. I mean, just everything does align. And I feel like the same can't be said for a lot of people, because especially in this bubble that we live in Orange County, the fitness scene that we're in.
Being so close to LA.
We know all these people. You and I, probably between us, we know everyone in the fitness scene, right? And the same can't be said for a lot of people, unfortunately.
No,
without
for a
naming
majority
names.
of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about how you got into it though. What made you become an influencer, you know? And how quickly did that build for you?
So I started getting into fitness, I would say college days, because that's the first time I had access to a gym. And I, in college, didn't really share necessarily workouts or anything along those lines, but I did share a selfie here or there. And I kind of found that I had a passion for it. And then when I graduated college, I had a job lined up to where I just felt like I wasn't aligned with it. So I didn't take the offer. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do with my life? So then I became a personal trainer and started sharing also my workouts online because it was my job, and it just turned into something. Again, I had no following at this point, nothing. And then when I moved to California, had no money. I was like, what am I going to do? So
Why did you want to move to California?
I just wanted more opportunity. And I feel like where I was from, people weren't growing. I just felt like everybody stayed friends with the people that they grew up with, which is nothing's wrong with that. But I felt like I was in a bubble.
Yeah.
And also I felt like there was a lot of trauma there too, to where I just wanted to get away and start a new life. And my parents really recommended California for the opportunities out here. And they lived out here before they ever had kids. And they're like, you should try it before you put your roots down and everything. And then I came here without a plan. And I feel like that's kind of what everybody does when they come to California. And then I was like, how am I going to pay for these bills? I don't have mom and dad to help me. And so I started doing online training on Instagram. That kind of slowly built up a following. I had signed with Live Fit at the time because Live Fit was watching me all those years in college. And then I got my first supplement company deal. So I was starting to make
Was that the one that you're with now?
No.
Okay.
So it was a different one. It was called PE Science. Shout out PE Science. You were my startup. But
We carry them at wholesale too.
yeah. So like these little opportunities were coming. Again, I wasn't making a ton of money. I still wasn't even making money to really pay my bills. So I still had to find ways to make ends meet. So I was doing online training, and then I went through a bad breakup at the time. So then that's when I started sharing more about my mental health, and I realized, hold on, I have a passion for not only fitness, but mental health. But I didn't correlate them at the time. And I didn't know how to integrate it into my social media because I didn't see it as a business. I just saw it as an outlet. So I was just sharing little things. And I didn't realize me sharing my story and my being unapologetically myself was actually
what hooked people.
It actually built my audience.
Yeah.
And that's why like I'm such a firm believer of like, be yourself. Don't try to put on this persona or be like anyone else because you're not going to build the community.
For sure. Because
you
like
have to be
people
relatable.
see, that you're not being authentic.
Yeah, exactly. So like it wasn't even intentional by any means. And then when it started picking up, it picked up. Like I went from, I don't even know, 30 to 100 within a matter of months, 1,000. And then it just kind of turned into something to where I realized, hold on, this can be a career. But year over year, I always thought, okay, this is only going to last for so long. Like I need to prepare myself to do another job. So then I went and got like my real estate license and stuff to like set myself up for another career. And then this year I'm set up to do the best I've ever done in my life.
Amazing.
But I thought it was going to be like a slow trickle
You're
down.
always like waiting, like, okay, is this real? Is this going to stop? Like, what is my backup plan if this doesn't go through?
When's the music going to stop?
Yeah, that's how I kind of feel because you just never know. Like a contract can be taken from you within a second. But I think that also comes down to that's why you build yourself as a brand before all else. Like even if you get an amazing deal, you don't have that be your identity.
Yeah. So when it comes to these brands, like I know that you're selective and you only have a few brands that you really push. What goes into you like deciding to partner with these brands? Like what do you look for?
So to be honest, I prefer brands to come to me because they already probably see some sort of potential in me. And a lot of the deals that I've ever gotten, it's because I've spent my own hard-earned money on them and posted them and promoted them for free in hopes that they feel the same way about me.
That's great. That's what it should be.
Yeah, so that's like kind of how I feel. And then I've still had deals that come my way where it doesn't align. Like alcohol, I'm not a big alcoholic drinker unless it's like a nice tequila drink or something. So example, if a vodka company comes my way, okay, I'm going to turn you down. Or like a fast fashion brand, which I was telling you kind of like off air. Yeah. Like if that comes my way, no matter how great the deal is, it could have been life-changing money. I'm still going to turn it down because I don't support that morally.
Yeah. And what is like the biggest deal you've ever gotten? Like what, like value wise that you've turned down?
6 figures.
Damn.
Turned down.
And you turned it down because
it was fast fashion brand. And
didn't align with your morals or values?
No.
That's so cool though.
Yeah, that is really cool.
That's cool that you like have the balls to do that. You're like, no, that's not me.
It's a scary situation because like you'll see this email and you're like, wow, should I just do this?
Yeah.
This is a lot of money. This could help my parents. This could help me. Like, do I just sacrifice it? It's going to blow over in a few months. But at the end of the day, whatever you put on the internet is there forever. And also, and whatever you expose to your community, they do remember. And so like example, if you promote something and say like, I genuinely love this, I use this all the time. And then the next week you're promoting something else and saying the same thing and someone tries that product and they trusted your word on it, you're going to lose that loyalty.
Yeah.
And like, you know how I am with my community. I'm like, I just want to protect them at all costs because I was once that consumer.
Yeah.
I was that person looking at these influencers and trusting these fat burners and random that they were promoting, which was destroying
and poisoning
me.
your body.
Dude, I see these influencers in the fitness space. They just jump from brand to brand to brand to brand to brand.
They're the ones that like
money.
Don't have the engagement. Their community sucks. They're not loyal. Like you could tell whose community like is really invested in that person versus the ones who are not. And the ones who are not are the ones that bounce around to a million different brands.
That's probably every space, every industry, right? But the fitness industry specifically, I mean, I guess that's really what we know.
Yeah.
I mean, I just see it so much. And I've grown up with, figuratively grown up with watching in my age bracket, I'm an old man now, in the fitness space. All the think about all the OG fitness influencers that have been around forever.
I mean, we were the first generation of it.
The Paige Hathaways, the Steve Cooks of the world, right? Joey Swole, right?
Joey.
The Shreds days, right? Like that kind of started the market, the influencer marketing, and they're no longer
the buff baked days.
Exactly. And I think another thing too with engagement, I feel like that could also be a hit or miss though, because there's people out there who have crazy engagement and crazy amount of followers, but they don't sell a single thing because their community doesn't trust them
anymore.
They may want to look like them, but they've already broken that trust. So they still follow them for like a random outfit inspo, or they want to look like them, or they just like the way they do their content, but they don't actually like them as a person.
Yeah.
So they're not going to support you. They may try to find a code from someone else, but you gave them the idea. Yeah.
So your brands now, Alpha Elite. I always say that fucking word. You always make fun of me. How do I say it?
Alpha Elite.
Alpha
like
Elite.
Think of Alpha.
I always think of
Elite.
Alpha Elite.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alpha
Elite. A lot of
Elite.
people do.
Yeah, and then the supplement company.
Yes, One Up Nutrition.
One Up Nutrition.
Yes.
Those you've been with like since One Up Nutrition you've been with since the beginning.
Yeah. So originally
After
I was with
the PE Science.
Yeah, I was with Live Fit and PE Science in 2017. And then I left PE Science towards the end of 2017 to go to One Up Nutrition. At the time, I felt like I aligned with it more. Ultimately, both brands are amazing. And I think I could have grown with both, but there was just something about One Up, when you just had this gut feeling, I just made the leap to it. And then for Live Fit, I was with them up until I believe it was 2019. And up until I bought my house. And then my heart just wasn't in it anymore. Like I loved all the opportunity that it gave me, but I found myself whenever I was trying to get dressed or anything, I was like, oh, I have to wear this. Like I have to wear this. And I felt awful being that way because I loved, I loved Randall. I loved my teammates, but I felt like I was evolving as a person. And like, that sounds awful, but at the end of the day, you have to make that hard decision to close the door. And I had no idea what was lined up for me. I was trying different brands. I was in conversations with different brands. But then when Alpha Elite came into the picture, it just clicked. Yeah.
The Alpha look too is, the athleisure. It's a little more custom looking. It's definitely obviously like a cut and sew brand.
Yeah.
Live Fit essentially like blank t-shirts.
And also I feel like when I got in with Alpha, it was still that family aspect of we're in the growing pains, which I liked. I love being in a growing pain with a company because I feel like if you can be in that moment with them,
and like stick it out,
you're
and go through the hard stuff
for that company.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you are a ride or die though. Like how long you've been with these companies like shows like how loyal you are to the brands. Cause like you said, like most people do jump around, and like you are like ride or die. I'm staying with you. Like,
yeah. And like, I love them. So why are you gonna leave? Like there's people who love companies that they're with, but then a deal comes where it's a couple $1,000s more and they're like, perfect, I'm going to take it. But for what?
Are you exploring other opportunities right now? Like, are you venturing outside of like the fitness realm?
Yes. So like, as I'm getting older, fitness is still always going to be a passion of mine. But like example, I like makeup, I like hair, I like skincare. I'm learning about these things. I'm maybe going to be a mom one day. So I'm trying to slowly transition. I will be.
Yes, so, you will be a mom.
I feel like I'm born to be one now that
you will be a mom
older.
One day.
Yeah.
Figure it out, dude.
Yeah. So I want to slowly transition that content to my audience. Like example, content that I enjoy consuming. That means I like it genuinely myself. So why do I not do that myself with my own content? And that's what I'm trying to do slowly. But of course, your audience is used to one thing. So trying to take yourself out of a bubble and a niche into growing into all these different things, you're going to lose some as they go. But that's fine because usually those are people that
you'll gain others though too.
And you'll gain people that align with you and grow with you.
Yeah. And I think that what you were saying to me yesterday is like, I mean, a lot of these people have been following you for a long time and it's like they're evolving as people too. And I mean, what percentage of your following is women? It's like 90%?
Like 70%.
Oh, 70%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, like, they're evolving. If they started following you when they're 25 and they're 30 and getting married and having kids now, like, they want to see that from you too.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's like the right transition for you.
And the other thing is like, think about even with you all, you have a family. You're not scrolling on social media endlessly. And if you are, you're looking at people who are in the same phase of life as you. And that also goes down to people when they become super successful in this business and they make a ton of money, they're flying private jets, they're buying crazy cars. They're also spending outside their means half the time. But from the outside looking in, it looks like they're crushing it in life, but you're losing your audience. From you trying to flaunt your shit, you're losing.
It's counterproductive.
Well, because it's like
nobody
cringe.
relates to you.
Yeah.
Instead instead they're going to kind of like resent you. It's like, hey,
on you.
Yeah, like we helped you get there and you're forgetting about us.
I mean, it's a lot of people in the industry, the cars.
And like, don't get me wrong. I like cars. My car's very cute, but like, I could also drive my first car ever because I still own it. Like, and I'd be just as happy. It's
for sure.
A to
but
B.
You don't put it out there. You don't rub it in people's face, you know, what you have, what you own, et cetera. And I feel like in all industries, but in fitness specifically, there's just that narcissistic mentality. Yeah. Like, look what I got, the flash.
What's a moment in your career where you felt the most challenged to stay true to yourself? And how did you like handle that?
I think definitely like towards the end of last year, my mental health was just in shambles. And like, you know how I was feeling. I was just not in a good place. And I started feeling like I was putting on a persona because I was still trying to show up.
Like even, going through the motions.
Yeah, going through the motions and being like, oh my God, how cute is this outfit? How is this? And like putting on how I wasn't feeling. And so I took a little bit of time off social media. And actually the only reason I came back on social media is because I committed to doing a podcast with our friend Justin and I didn't want to let him down. So then when he posted the podcast, I came back on social media and pushed it because I didn't want to let him down. And I'm grateful that happened because if that didn't happen, I was ready to call it quits.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was ready to call it quits. I was like, I have so many.
Why? Because of like the pressure that you felt?
Or? Yeah, I just feel like I was kind of lost. Like I didn't know exactly what direction I wanted to go in. I was going through the growing pain myself, but the kind where I didn't know if I was actually evolving. Yeah. And then I came into this year and I started getting other deals outside of fitness. And then I also started going to therapy and I started prioritizing myself and boundaries with people. And like, also I realized that I was people pleasing with some of the content that I was putting out. Like I was putting out content because I knew it would do good or it was a trend versus that's actually what I wanted to do. Yeah. And that's where some people go wrong. And then they build this resentment towards their brand and their business. And so then I had to take a step back and slowly transition everything, which is what I'm doing. And that's kind of how I got through it. But at the time, I didn't want to get through it. I was like, I'm done. Like I have my real estate license. Who can I go and shadow and like do this? Like, yeah, I was ready. I was like ready to hit up all of our connections and be like, hey, let me work under you for a little bit, learn my way. This is my new career. Done. I was set.
So obviously being an influencer, has taken you to a place where you're at now with your career, yourself, your being, your relationships, etc. Where do you see this going? Like, where do you see this going in the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years? Like, what does Ashley Flores look like in 20 years?
I am not in denial of the fact that social media does have a timeline to some extent for what you start in. So if you don't properly transition, you're going to be gone. But for me, I also don't want to be. Like once I start having a family and stuff, maybe in the beginning phases, I'll share that, but I do want to check out and do something different. I do enjoy real estate and that would be another goal. But honestly, I'm kind of in that hustle mentality of to where I want to be able to do investments and find other ways to make that income without having to show up online. Yeah, that's like the end goal. To be honest, in this moment of time, I don't care to start my own business. Never again. But like, at least not, I don't want to say never again, but like, I don't think that I was ready for that. And nor do I think I ever want to be in that position. I think I enjoy myself being a brand more so than building a brand. Yeah. It's fucking like props to you. It's so hard. And then, yeah, I feel like everybody wants to say like, oh, I'm for sure going to be in this place by here and this place by here. I thought I was going to be married with kids by the age of 25. I'm 30 and I just got engaged. So like, I don't want to go and say like, oh, by this time I'm going to be here because I may not be. And that's completely fine. But wherever I'm going to be is where I'm meant to be. I know that's not necessarily answering the question, but I don't have a proper answer for it.
Yeah. I mean, the Tello dreamer.
Yeah.
What are you dreaming about?
Yeah, exactly. So just financial freedom, which we all always want, but I'm actually taking the steps to get there.
That could be a whole nother, podcast. Yeah. Just like when you actually make income.
Yeah. Make savings accounts.
Yes.
I bet.
High yielding savings accounts.
Yes, do it.
How do you allocate those funds, right? It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter at what level you are. I have buddies and friends that are school teachers that have investment properties. And then we have friends that make millions monthly that are literally broke. It's how you allocate those funds,
right?
Because
they're having like 30K parties every other day.
It's unreal. And then it ends up on social media and it's just a death spiral. But I mean, I think that's a great point for everyone. We talk about this. We've talked about this with everyone, right? Just, it doesn't matter how much you make, it's how much you keep, how you allocate those funds, whether it's investing in dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500 ETF that tracks S&P 500 or buying real estate, whether it be, doing it for income, whether it's flips or
find ways to have your money make money for you.
Yeah, rental properties, just building a portfolio of real tangible assets that you can own that spit off cash for the rest of your life. And most people that you see that are wealthy out there, they're obviously, it started with the income from their job. We all have different jobs, but it's like as they got older, they stuck it in assets, and that's what actually helps with obtaining wealth in your life.
Yeah, I wish I started that earlier, because I definitely went through those phases where I was buying stupid things because I had money that I had never had before. Yeah.
We all went through that.
This could have did this. I could have done that.
Know.
Yeah.
I know. Now I can't even buy an expensive bag because I'm like, I'm not going to put my money there.
No.
But I do have to have a nice purse. But
I love a nice purse.
I
as we have matching
nice
purses over there.
You guys deserve a nice purse.
Yeah. I have to have a new nice purse every year. But that's it. One new nice purse a year. That's my one superficial thing.
Okay, let me ask you though. What? Side note. Do you ever tell yourself if I reach this milestone, then I can buy it?
Yes, I do that.
That's how I am. I won't just go on a whim and buy it. I'll be like, oh, I got this great brand deal, or I hit this number for my year, or
I'll do that.
Yeah. Or I did good in therapy.
Yeah.
It's either a milestone or it's a time thing.
Mm-hmm. You have to remember she grew up or was treat, and now she's actually honed it back and understands that when she's making her own income, spoiling herself, she can do it every once in a while.
But great. I don't spoil myself. It's weird because it's I'd rather save my money for my future.
Or go on a dope trip.
For our next house than some freaking
Hey, save up for my wedding.
The trips.
We're going to go to
where's the bachelor party?
Yeah.
Bachelorette party.
I already hit up Nate. I said when's the bachelor party?
Probably Cabo.
Okay, good. Okay, well, one, I'm so happy for you.
Yes,
because
congrats,
I literally...
Ashley. Go ahead.
Fiance.
I know. I did at one point, I saw you every single day. It makes me want to cry. Even thinking about it. Every single time I saw one of our friends get engaged, my heart broke for you.
I know.
I felt like I had to text you and be like, "Are you okay?" But then I didn't want to do that.
And it happened fast too. It was Sean and Natalie.
Yeah.
And then Diego and Kat again. And I was like, do we need to reach out to Ashley? She needs a hug for sure.
I had 5 friends or 4 friends get engaged within a month before me, and then me, and then I had 2 friends get engaged right after me. So it was it's a trend right now. Everybody's getting engaged. Yeah.
What feels different since because you and Nate have been together for a long time.
Yeah, we've been together for almost 7 years, but I never understood fully that your partner is a teammate. And I think that's also because of how I grew up. Different traumas and stuff, but also financially, you had to work really, really hard. So whatever was yours, you held on to it. It was yours. So example, the house or the car stuff, I'm well, no, that's mine. It's mine. But as soon as I got that commitment from him, literally the next day.
Hey, it's our house now.
Yeah.
It's my house, but okay, I got her in K. It's our house.
Not even that, but I felt like a team.
Yeah.
And he was telling me something about his work day, and I'm thinking, okay, how could I make it better? What could I do to support him? And thinking, I don't know shit about commercial real estate.
Yeah.
But that's how my mind went immediately. Versus other times, if he was telling me he had a hard day, I would try to be there supportively, but I wouldn't try to think about how could I alleviate or be a team player for him.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And that was it was a flip.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. It was a flip of a switch.
That's amazing.
So I think that was the biggest change for me, is just really treating us like a team.
Yeah. When you bring up those things, I think the same thing. When he's my employee situation this morning, in my head, I'm what, how can I help him over here? That's amazing.
Yeah. And I feel some people are really good at thinking team mindset, even when they're dating. But I just wasn't one of those people. I wanted us to grow together, but I was still in my mind, finance is separate, this separate.
Well, I feel you needed this. You needed this for it to be real.
Yeah.
And until this happened, I know how committed and loyal and how in it you were.
Yeah.
But you were not in it until you had that ring on your finger. Because
that's such an interesting dynamic too.
I know, but it's you felt he had to commit and be in it. And to you, that was his way of doing that is by committing.
For sure. For those of you that know Nate, sometimes you gotta grab him by the face and be like, bro, let's figure it out. Okay.
Yeah. He's like such a good man. And he's like a good friend and a jokester. And like, he has no ill bone in his body. And that's why I was like,
beat of his own drum
like,
too.
I always knew it was Nate.
Yeah.
Like, even if like some of my friends would be like, hey, Ash, it's been a long time. Like, you know, you're getting older, like having these hard conversations with me. Deep down, I still knew. But then I was also just like, well,
even me, I was like, it better happen this year. If it doesn't happen this year,
She would.
Yeah, but I was also like, okay.
I was pissed.
Well, this year was the year where I was like, hold on, I'm 30. I do want to start maybe having kids. Like, are we on the same page? So then I started actually having those conversations with him. And he would tell me like, yeah, we're on the same page. But then I'm like, what's fucking taking so long? Meanwhile, poor guy, he had got the ring last year, like ordered the ring last year, and then he got sick. So yeah, patience.
Still, like you had the ring for a year? What?
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm so proud of him though. Yeah. He did great. Like I was completely shocked.
Yeah.
Completely. Sure. Yeah, he did so good.
I've been halfway up his ass for like 3
I
years.
thought you were pregnant when you text me and you're like, because you told me, I guess, the night before that you did your post.
Yeah.
And I was going to meet you at a restaurant and you're like, I have something to tell you. And in my head, I was like, okay, like, I was like thinking it all through. I was like, if she was engaged, like maybe Chris would know and like we would have already known, like she has to be pregnant.
Yeah. I know.
When I saw you, your hand was like tucked into your.
I was trying to hide it. And then you already knew.
Well, of course. The second
it was one of two things.
Yeah. The second I walk in the door, I look at your hand because I'm like, what's the surprise?
And I'm like, hi, Bobby. Like trying to hide my hand.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you already told her, and I'm just like,
no, I didn't tell her.
Oh, no. Well, I already told her that you did tell me.
No, it was verified.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was verified by.
You're like, I'm gonna throw you under the bus real quick.
Unintentionally, by actually 2 people who were sitting in that chair 2 weeks ago.
Well, because we had them on the podcast, and then they know that I'm close to you, and then Chris just happened to be there that day.
We knew though. It was like she's either pregnant or engaged. Like I even text Nate. I text him like the pregnant girl emoji or the ring emoji. And that was it. But yeah, I walked into Happy Jewelers when we were setting up Gabe and Danny, and I was there for like an hour with them. And Gabe was like, dude, how cool about Nate Nash? And I was like, all right.
And then one second later, I get a text message.
Like, nobody knows yet. I was like, I mean, we figured as much, but nobody knows yet. And he was like, oh.
So originally I was going to keep it off social media. For a long time, I was going to keep it off social media.
I could not see you doing that,
I know.
Ash.
I couldn't either. I feel like
There's
a lot.
No way.
Even me keeping it in for like 4 days was
groundbreaking. It was groundbreaking.
It was blissful though. Like honestly, if the lady never sent me the pictures, I would have still held out.
Really?
Yeah, I would have held out. But the second she sent me the photos, I was like, it's done for. Here we go.
Yeah. Surprise. Yeah. Okay, looking back, what's the biggest lesson you've learned, like being with somebody for 7 years? And what advice would you give couples like that are in that same situation? Like the girl that is like sitting there waiting for a proposal or the next step.
I mean, have the conversations. Have the conversations. Don't give ultimatums, because if you want someone to propose to you, you want it to be on their own terms. Mm-hmm. And so I tried to make sure I never gave an ultimatum, because that's not the foundation of a relationship, at least not that I want necessarily. But have the conversations. But at the end of the day, in your mind, figure out what your worth is. And do they see that? Are they explaining that they see that? If not, walk.
There needs to be open dialogue always. It doesn't matter what the next step looks like, whether it's getting engaged, buying a house, moving into another state, going to school together. Hell, you could be a high schooler, you know? Yeah. The next step, you have to be open and honest and transparent with your partner, because you guys could have different visions of what the next step looks like, or what that timing looks like.
And don't be scared to be, I don't want to say like be a nag about it, but like you have to express yourself. And if your partner's making you feel annoying for trying to be an adult and mature and have those conversations.
Women, if you're listening, by expressing yourself, she means don't be passive aggressive while going about it. Because women can be passive aggressive. Yeah, that is.
I mean, so can guys.
Yeah, but what I'm referring to is when it comes to this, because if a woman's expecting something, whether it's again an engagement, there's been seeds that have been planted.
Yeah, there's 2 girls here.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but she knows.
Wrong audience.
Yeah, she knows. You know what I'm referring to. And as a male, I mean, I feel like it's kind of my obligation from a male's perspective to put that out there too, right? Mm-hmm. Like of course, everyone can be passive aggressive, but if you want that next step, you have to work towards it together.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be like you versus him or vice versa.
I think it also shows like if you're willing to grow and become a better person, whether you're going to therapy or reading books or podcasts or trying to do better with your business and stuff, and your partner isn't, that's also like something that I think down the road, if you're ignoring now, down the road is going to affect your relationship.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah. I agree with that.
What does your dream wedding look like?
So
I love that it's like, I know, but I love that it's like not what I feel like most people would expect from you.
Yeah.
So I think I want you to share that.
Okay. So I feel like most people expect me to have this like big extravagant wedding, which I don't want. Yeah. Okay. So ideally, there's multiple options. Ideally, it's either we do a courthouse wedding and we do a small trip to Europe and invite all of our close friends and do something along those lines. But now, because, compromise in a relationship, Nate still wants like a bigger wedding because Nate is the friendliest human on the entire planet.
What's the happy medium? Like how many guests?
So probably around, I want to try to keep it at 80.
That's a good amount. That's how many we had at our wedding.
Yeah. And also because like I have a bigger family, like my mom's side of the family, my mom has 5 siblings. My dad has like 6 siblings, I think it is. And then plus their significant others. And then they all have kids. So it's huge family. So like there's some family members where I'm like, I love you. You're not invited. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because
I feel like that's fine. We did the same thing at ours.
Yeah. You got to make those like little tough decisions. So, and that's the same thing that Nate and I are having these conversations. Like, oh, I want this person invited. I'm like, I don't even have that person's phone number saved. I've never spent any quality time with them. We've never gone on like a double date with those people or anything. Why would they be invited?
Yeah.
Why? Like, don't feel obligated just because you talk to them.
Yeah. When, as far as timing, when do you think it'll
2026.
be? Okay.
2026.
And you said,
so you have like a whole year to plan
European
it.
vacation or what?
Okay. So yeah, European vacation or just doing a wedding in Europe. We're also debating Cabo, but for Cabo, like Nate and I have gone so many times to Cabo to where I feel like it's a second home, but to the point where it's like I'm doing one right here in this office. It doesn't feel
as special.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as special or exciting. And like I want guests, although it will cost more money, I want them to be able to prioritize a vacation for themselves and like kind of force them to go and take a nice vacation for themselves. So like
we're on board.
Yeah.
We're going to Europe.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. If you were asking, yes. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. You're going to get people that don't come, but we're also trying to give them enough advance notice and take everything into consideration. I don't know. We'll see. But the goal is Europe.
What's one thing you wish more people knew about like the life of an influencer?
As much as you want to have 100% boundaries, you don't. Because you see everything as a content opportunity. Like even like you having a kid, you're like, oh, it's a content opportunity. Oh, I'm getting ready for this big event. Oh, it's a content opportunity. Like you'll always in the back of your mind think like this would do good for content. And like that sounds terrible, but that's like eventually what gets ingrained into your mind. And like when you're at home, somebody sends you a DM or something and you accidentally open it, you're like, oh, well, let me respond. And then you start responding to all the other ones. You have the means to be able to turn it off, but you don't want to turn it off. And so versus a 9-to-5 job where you go to work, you do your work, you come home, you're able to completely shut off. You don't have that.
So you're like always kind of on.
You're always on.
And like you feel like this underlying pressure to like always have to find an opportunity to post something like throughout your day.
Well, especially when it's so saturated, like people go to extremes. I mean, even look at Alex Earl. Like she became so successful overnight. And it was because she, for a year straight, was posting her get readies with me all the time. But she was telling all these crazy stories of her college experiences or different things about her life. And that's what drew people in. If she was just doing a get ready and just yapping about something normal, it wouldn't have been the case. But then she built her audience off of that. So now she still does like fun, extravagant things because that's like what her audience grew up.
And how do you draw that line between like the person and the persona? Like where is the line blurred?
I feel like the line is blurred because if you're doing it right, you kind of like what we talked about in the beginning, you show up as yourself in real life. Yeah. So, I mean, you can go in, I don't really know, to be honest. Like I haven't mastered that yet. That's a goal of mine.
So the reason why I ask is because recently I played golf with somebody pretty well known in the real estate industry, and he sells houses to a super mega influencer, like tens of millions of followers. We all know him. She knows what I'm talking about. And he said that he will never sell him a house again. And the reason why is because the guy doesn't know where his person starts and his persona ends. He's like, this guy's a hot mess. And the way he puts himself out there online is like, this guy's so buttoned up, which I'm sure he is from a business standpoint, but from like a person standpoint,
you can like just tell how miserable he is.
He said he's just a hot mess. He's like, I don't care if he wants to buy another $10 million house. I won't sell it to him. I don't want to be around this guy anymore.
Yeah. That's bad energy.
Yeah.
But I feel like
that's
it comes down to like the human being you are.
But that's like you human being and
it sounds like he hasn't respected his own boundaries at all and he's let it consume him.
The person and the persona, there's no line. Yeah. It all bleeds together. He doesn't like know how to be a person. He only knows how to be like put on his persona.
Well, it seems like he got too many dopamine hits from engagement to where that's like controlled him.
This guy's massive too. I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah. That's like, that can happen to people though. They get addicted to this
the
engagement
likes,
and
the comments, the engagement.
Exactly. They get addicted to it. So then they thrive off of that. So then in real life situations, they're not as happy. I mean, even example, I learned this from my therapist and stuff, like even drug addicts, they get a sense of dopamine from all the drugs. So even when they're off of it, they have to find another source of addiction to feel that happiness. Yeah. So like sometimes they'll go to the gym and get addicted to the gym to have another experience of happiness because a normal thing like their kid hugging them or something won't bring them that same amount of happiness.
Like so crazy. Yeah. But it's like when you think about it and it's like, it is the thing that like without you can't live because it is your livelihood. Like it makes sense that like you do get that way. And like,
that's where boundaries have to come into play. Like you have to set up boundaries within yourself and try your best not to cross them. Will lines be blurred? Absolutely. But you still have to do your best to differentiate them as much as possible, or you are going to have it consume you and you're going to turn into a monster of a person that no one wants to be around, or you're going to be so like egotistical that you're going to have no friends around you. Yeah.
But once you say like your mentality of thinking that way is like the 1%, because like most influencers that I can think of, like, I feel like they don't even think to have boundaries and they don't even recognize that to begin with. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, even myself, like at the very beginning, just now I said like, oh, I always think about like, is this a good content opportunity?
Say something that's like such good content right now.
No, but like, do you know what I mean? Like that shouldn't be, that's me disrespecting my own boundary.
Totally.
Yeah. Like that's the whole reason I got off YouTube is because I was disrespecting and not following my own boundaries because I didn't know how to be present versus, oh shoot, do that again because I didn't get that on camera.
That's been a topic of conversation in our household lately.
Is like that's so unique that you think that way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most people who like do this for a living, they don't respect their own boundaries.
I think that's obviously probably come through like unintentional trial and error. And like letting yourself down, like knowing that like I shouldn't have done that or I should have known differently, right?
Well, it also comes down to being in tune with yourself and your mental health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think it like speaks to you as like the human that you are too. Is that like you like respect yourself enough to like have those boundaries?
Yeah, I try.
No,
that's
you
huge.
do.
Yeah,
I mean, you're good with your boundaries.
You are good with your boundaries, and that comes with that's just maturation, right?
Yeah.
That's just becoming an adult.
Even like the 3 years, 2 years that I've been close to you, like I've seen like so much growth from you there.
Yes,
I have a lot.
Wow. Yeah. I think it's also because like I knew and was aware of my people pleasing, but not only in friendships and relationships, but also in business. Like not business deals. Business deals I've always done well of sticking up for myself, but like as in with my audience. Like if they'd be like, oh, can you send me the link of this? When I literally just had the link on my story, instead of being like, hey, it's on my story, I would go through, try to find the link again, send it to them. And like kept trying to like go out of my way of different things to make sure everything was easier, but it was also a sense of people pleasing. Yeah. Or like delivering content of like, here's a juicy glute pump, which I still do all the time. I love it. But like, I know that kind of content will hit best if it's like a Belfie all the time or different things, but that's not what I want to put out there. Yeah. So I had to stop.
You're evolving.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm adulting.
She's adulting and evolving.
Adulting.
You're doing a damn good job.
You are.
You're doing a damn good job.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Well, we love you so much. And thank you for being here.
Yeah.
This has been great.
It was really good.
This is our normal yap session.
And we're so
Give yourself
proud of you.
a shout out. Social media handle.
Oh, my Instagram is Ashley Flores. Yay. Thank you. Yeah, it's because my other ones are all different. So I was like, that's the easiest. You can
And
find me
you
there.
have TikTok too, right?
Yeah, I have TikTok. It's A Flores Fit. So if I can give another piece of advice, get the same username for every single platform. And if a new platform comes out, get your username right away.
Right away. Even
Did
if
you
you
get
don't
your
intend to use
domain?
it.
I have not bought the other one.
Okay.
We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to say the name of it. But the other one I did buy. But yeah, so that was my problem is like originally I did Ashley Flores Fit and I was the same for all of them. But then I realized I'm not just fitness. Why am I putting myself in a niche of a bubble? And so then I changed it to Ashley Flores, which is such a common name and I can't find it anywhere else. Yeah, it's okay. I'll get there.
Are you still
Good
doing
advice.
YouTube?
Yeah, I still do YouTube, but so that's another thing that I kind of wanted to like give advice for is if you are also like first starting out and you're kind of like lost on what to do and you want to be multiple things, use different platforms for different pieces of content. Like my Instagram is very much catered more towards my fitness community, right? But then my TikTok is catered to people, girl time who just want to yap and
Like
also
hair, makeup,
yeah,
skin.
hair, makeup, skin, and then also just sometimes even like therapy chats where I'm being more vulnerable than I want to be with my larger platform on Instagram. And then for long form of content like YouTube, you could use that for a day in the life where people get to know you or honest, true feedback like my trial hauls where I am brutally honest and like, I don't care if I'm signed with the company or not, I will shit on it if it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
But like you can use different platforms for different pieces of content. And also you get all sorts of different people who may not follow you on every single one, but they love you for that.
Yep.
So it
just
allows you to
test.
like
That's
kind of
cool.
branch out.
That's cool.
That's good advice.
Versus
That's
copying
really
and
good
pasting
advice.
on every platform. You're not going to grow that way.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
good advice.
Well, everyone make sure you follow her. I mean, we don't have a ton of listeners now, but it's
Or
growing.
55
Hey.
subscribers.
Yeah.
Hey, 55.
There's more than that though. Those
Well,
are
that's
people.
just our YouTube.
That's just
I know more
like-
people listen,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah, people will definitely
It'll grow.
Yeah, I was about to say, I definitely listen to people like every day and I don't follow them sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't follow anyone that I
Yeah,
listen
exactly.
to.
So
Yeah.
like you can't
I don't download
Yeah.
either. I'll just go
I
listen
download like a
and
maniac.
I don't download.
Yeah, I'll download.
The
Because you
podcast.
don't.
You
Okay.
got to get it together. That's
Yeah.
what
Because you
supports
don't
them.
need to download though to listen, right?
Yeah, but I think downloads support them more.
It does.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, like Jay Shetty. Jay,
Yeah.
love ya. I download every single one of his things.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, all of them.
I've never listened to any of his content.
Me
before.
either.
You should. He's great.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, he's really
I
good.
mean, I see him
Interesting.
everywhere, but I don't listen to any of it.
Yeah, he's really good.
This
You
one
say that?
influencer that
Yeah.
I was obsessed with.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
She was like, "Oh, I'd love to have you on the podcast. $100,000."
Yep, I know who you're talking about.
And I'm like, "Bye.
Yeah.
You're not worth that. Bye."
So crazy.
Yeah, it's
So
wild.
crazy.
It's insane.
And then all of a sudden, next time I try to get on your podcast, I come up with this great idea. And I'm like, hey guys, can I be on your podcast? You're gonna be like $500.
Never.
And I'm like, wow.
Never. I feel like
No.
you'll probably be on here multiple times as we
Yeah.
like grow
Yeah.
and our community
Maybe
grows.
you could co-host one with me, like
Yeah.
a girl
Yeah,
episode.
bring it on.
I
I'm
feel like
built
you're
for
this.
good.
I'm a yapper.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Girl talk, girl hour.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that you could do that. You could do
Yeah.
girl hour and just talk
Something.
about girl things.
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
we're so different, but
Yeah.
we're a good yin and yang.
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
100%.
And like we know
Like
each
you're
other's
stuck with
yeah,
me. We
yeah.
have fought like sisters, but then we've mended like sisters. We've cried like sisters. Like,
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good dynamic.
Yeah. Are
Maybe-
you jealous?
I'll
yeah.
sit this one out.
Watch out. It's like, okay.
We'll see. We'll see if Chris steps up his pod game over there.
Hey, you could bring Nate over here.
Fuck.
Are you ready to edit that?
Yeah. He's gonna be like, and then he'll just start yapping, and then he'll take one of those long Nate pauses and be like, and then start yapping. I'm just like, dude, spit it out.
You
bro.
could do a solo with Nate.
Yeah.
I try to do
Yeah.
that all the time. I'm like, babe, just tell the story.
Yeah, fucking spit it
out.
Like, yeah, the Billy Madison today, Junior.
Yeah, he's
Like, let's
so-
go.
He's so funny.
Oh,
I'm
he
glad
is
I'm not the only
funny.
one who notices that though.
Fuck, dude. I tell him I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I
he's the
want
best.
the cliff notes of this conversation.
That's how I
Nate.
am.
Yeah.
Because like I can't focus. Like if you're telling a story too long, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
no.
a bird.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
So
funny.
Well, this has been great. We really appreciate you. We love you.
Thanks
And-
for having
you.
me.
You're the
Love you.
best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.